Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. This is episode 24 of the Diary of a Trainee PWP. 24 weeks is about 6 months, and I can remember the first day I started. 6 months, it's gone swiftly, it's gone so quick. We finished the term roughly, and so we finished modules 1 and 2. There are about 3 modules in the whole program. And modules 1 and 2 have been completed, and this month has just been a heavy month. I've got a lot to tell you. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I've already published my weekly blog, and that's available there. You're going to read a lot of reflectivity, a lot of insight. 6 months, a lot's been going on. So from the 30th of June up until the 30th of July, which is next Sunday, there's been a number of, you're talking about nearly 4 deadlines, 4 submissions, and it's just been a lot going on. I have to resit an exam next week, and then the day after, or 2 days after, which is the same day, I'm traveling. So my plan is to kind of get it done the day before, which is submit another particular submission and assignment. It's just a lot going on. I feel tired. But yeah, I mean, Monday was the last day of lectures, so last teaching day for term 1, and what we took was cognitions, or working with thoughts. So this is a particular technique. Most of the work that we do at step 2 as a low intensity CBT practitioner is we do a lot of behavioral work. So CBT is a combination of cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy. Cognitive techniques or cognitive interventions, as well as behavioral interventions. A lot of our work is more on the behavioral side, where we work on behaviors. If a person is experiencing low mood, we work on behaviors to improve that mood, improve their mood, their low mood, to become a more better and more positive mood by being more active, hence behavioral activation. We work on people who have anxiety. So for people who have anxiety, particularly excessive worry, we work on helping them to manage their worries by classifying their thoughts. Is it a hypothetical thought where there's not a solution at the moment, a lot of what ifs, and then is it a practical worry where there are worries but there are practical solutions at that given moment, and we help them on how do we deal with both sides so that they can feel more empowered and they feel more in control over their worry, reducing their worry and feeling more in control and empowered. And then finally, when we touch on panic and phobias, there is the exposure, or the graded exposure. It is about how do we develop the ability to increase the time that we spend on a anxiety provoking situation, so that within time, although the anxiety may be high, but it's slowly allowing it to reduce within time. It's about being exposed, increasing exposure, where it's literally going from a high anxiety to what we feel at the moment, and then it just starts to decrease as we prolong that exposure. Anyway, I can talk about them separately at other videos, in future videos, God willing. But it's just to give you an idea. A lot of what we do is behavioral. On Monday, what we literally what we were taking in terms of working with cognitions is the cognitive technique known as cognitive restructuring. Now, this deals with negative automatic thoughts, or also known as unhelpful thoughts, unhelpful thinking. I want to just briefly give you guys a bit of a context and an idea about our thinking, not just our thinking styles, but in terms of cognitions, in terms of our thoughts, our negative thinking. Imagine an orbit. So we have the sort of negative automatic thoughts. These are the first thoughts that come to mind. The negative automatic thoughts are the first thoughts that come to mind in a given situation. Then it goes a bit deeper where there's assumptions. So it becomes negative automatic thoughts, then it becomes negative sort of assumptions where there's a lot of if then type of statements. So if this is happening, then it means XYZ. If XYZ, then XYZ. So, and it's very pessimistic and very negative. And it goes deeper and deeper, and it literally reaches to what we call the core belief, which is I'm a loser. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve happiness. I'm unlovable. We don't really now tackle these type of core beliefs. They're more at a high level, the high intensity. So that's at step 3. But what we do tackle at our level at step 2 is low intensity CBT practitioners. We deal with the negative thinking, the automatic thoughts. How do we deal with that? So cognitive restructuring, by its name, is literally restructuring our unhelpful thoughts. In order to allow our thoughts, it's about identifying our negative thinking, and then we challenge that thinking. Well, something that we learned, which is quite interesting, is like taking it to court, presenting evidence for it and evidence against it, and trying to construct an alternative thought. So there's the challenge over there, challenging it for, evidence against, and then trying to construct and build an alternative thought so that the thinking becomes balanced. An example was given, and that is, you hear a loud bang at home all of a sudden at night. And what do you think it may be? And everyone had different views and different ways of interpreting that loud bang. Could it be someone trying to break in the house? Could it be the vase that broke? Could it be the cat that just touched something and it broke? Could it be something else? It could be a number of things. So there's different interpretations, but we tend to be very fixated on one or two and think that, no, that is the case. But it could be more than that. There are perhaps alternative thoughts. It was long, it was very exhausting, very tiring, but there was a lot of learning. And it really, really benefited me in particular, because I literally have now 2 clients that I'm working with regards to their thinking in terms of cognitive restructuring. That I have 2, and one we started literally last week, which was on Wednesday, this week actually Wednesday, and then I've got another one that we're going to be starting the following week, or this coming week. So I've got about 2, so I need to, it was good that it came at the right time. Tuesday was one of the usual triage days. Wednesday, so we started Wednesday, I had, seeing treatment, and, I took what we learned at uni and what we practiced, literally had my session, and then I had my supervision session. Every week in supervision, I'm learning something new, and honestly, this time, I spoke to my supervisor the week before, and I said, listen, next week, which was this week, I said, I want to start working a lot more on certain clinical skills, being prepared on how to explain certain things, and, other clinical skills. And it was very, very beneficial. What was interesting on Wednesday as well was, before supervision, I spoke to one of the CBT therapists, and he had published a book in CBT, and, I was, every Wednesday we get so busy, we don't get the chance to talk as much and have that discussion. But I was just getting a bit of advice from him, and he was really, really encouraging me to, he was telling me literally, why don't you just compile all your blogs that you've written so far about your journey and just publish it into a book at the end of the year maybe. This would really, really help and benefit, and maybe be a tool and a guide for a lot of the trainees to come. I said, it's not a bad idea, maybe I need to start compiling them. Was encouraged even that he told me, when you write your book, start writing notes and start jotting things down. It was really, it was a very quick conversation. It was about 5 minutes, but it gave me a lot of encouragement, because I want to write, I want to author, and I want to benefit other people, whether it be laymen, people understanding about mental health and the work that we do, and also those in the profession, especially, trainees that are coming in order to provide, some sort of a guide. I'm hoping that I can write this down. And what was interesting is that after supervision, I literally thought to myself, why don't I compile also my supervision notes? I have my literal, manually written notes, but I also have, notes that, we worked on together that's already stored. I can kind of find a way to maybe compile that maybe at the end of the year. Perhaps that may be beneficial. So Thursday comes in. Sorry, were we on Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. Sorry, before Thursday, Wednesday. I've been wanting to watch this movie for a while, and that was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So I literally decided, because that week, Monday after uni, I literally took a 2-hour break. Then I went and I studied until about 9 o'clock, and then I just prayed and then left uni. And literally Wednesday, I said, you know what? After work, I already literally booked my, booked the film, went to Odeon, literally watched the movie, and to be honest, I don't know how Tom Cruise, at the age of 61, can run like he's being chased after a Rottweiler. I literally wrote this in my blog today. Like he still got the speed at 61. I'm amazed, but it was an amazing. It's Mission Impossible from 1996, which the first one came out, up until today. You're talking about one of the best action movies ever. So I literally took that break, and that's an advice to everyone: take breaks. We need to take breaks, no matter how much pressure there is in a week. We need to take breaks. Thursday comes in. I've got like almost 3 to 4 clients, but it was really, really good. It was good to see the ones that were working on BA, improving, and they're engaging in their activities. We discussed about the balance and all of that, looking at where the challenges were, how can they overcome their challenges, and challenges will always be there. There'll always be challenges. However, it's about seeing that we are moving forward and that we are able to become active. We are able to engage and to get back into the things that we enjoy doing, and back into our routine, back into the balance of the routine activities, pleasurable activities, and also the necessary activities, things that we have to get done, and look at the challenges and find out ways to improve in the following weeks. One of my clients, literally, I quote, she said, because I asked her, what made the week really good? What helped you to engage? She said, when I am preoccupied, I feel better. I feel like I'm doing things, and I feel, emotionally better. I was really happy to hear that. Another one of my clients, literally, she was telling me, like, I finally, we worked on the week before about problem solving and trying to look at the pros and cons of her making a decision as to which university should she enroll in. She told me, I finally made my decision. Last week's session really helped, and I've chosen which university, and I'm about to enroll in that university. I said, brilliant, that's absolutely wonderful news. And we talked about, the next steps. We had our clinical skills as well on Thursday around 4 o'clock, so about 4 to 5 nearly. And this is our opportunity. We have this like once a month, and it really helps us to work with one of the seniors. We've got one of the qualified PWPs with us. We've got ourselves as trainees. We're all benefiting one another. So usually it's like, okay, what concerns do you guys want to talk about? What topics? Any concerns about your clinical practice? And for me, I talked about, my concern was about how do we deal with, a lot of times many clients tend to speak a lot about their low self-esteem. They tend to speak about low self-esteem and a lot of statements around low self-esteem and how they're struggling with it. How do we kind of help them, not to necessarily drift away from what we're focusing on in terms of the treatment protocol, but how can we help you bring them back to the approach, and also not discount it, but at least find a way to talk about it and to allow them to express themselves. One of the qualified PWPs, she mentioned something really interesting to say that we can use. What we tend to use is we always review what we call the PSS, the problem summary statement, which is a statement that literally summarizes the problem, how it impacts them, their thinking, how they feel emotionally, physically, and the whole problem itself in their own words. And the whole course of treatment, it's looking at monitoring the progress of where they were and where they are later on, and also reviewing the goals. Have they managed to reach their goals? Are they closer to reaching and achieving their goals? When we review and reflect on that, and they can see where they were at the start and where they are at the moment, seeing that there's progress and improvement, it is an indication that this individual can move forward in life. This individual can actually achieve. That you can achieve, you can improve, you can progress. And that will automatically build a sense of fulfillment and achievement, and can have a positive effect on a person's self-esteem. So that's kind of how we bring it back to that, which can help them hopefully uplift their mood and uplift their self-esteem. Friday was a couple of patients, and one in particular, or clients mainly, to be honest. One in particular, I can see that her anxiety started to really reduce. I'm really happy, because she was struggling at the beginning. But when I looked at her scores and I asked her, your scores have really dropped. I'm really happy to hear that. And she says there's a lot of improvement. And I'm really happy to see that because they're very close to finishing, and it's just every week there's something new. I got news on Friday, which was yesterday, which unfortunately I'm very transparent. I wasn't always sure whether I should say this literally, but I want to share my experience with you, and I want you guys to know that it's not a walk in the park. I wrote this last week. Literally, it's not a walk in the park. It really is challenging. What is the challenge? The challenge is there's going to be ups and downs. It's a really intensive year. I got news that I did not pass my RA2, which is my written assignment. I was very shocked because I was positive that I did better than the first time, even though I passed the first time, thank God, alhamdulillah. But this time, unfortunately, as we say in Arabic, qadar Allah, it's if it's decreed, is written. But it was upsetting. It was alhamdulillah. It was upsetting, but to the point where I was like, I just want to pass. When you're in this program, it's not about the grades, it's just about passing, to be honest. And you don't want to keep, especially someone in my situation, I already have to reset my exam. You don't want to keep repeating something. But you know what? I'm not the first. I'm not the first. The previous cohort, there's about a couple of them who've also had to do the same thing. So it's and even others, in different sort of services, literally, they've had this similar experience, and they've told me, look, it happens. Fortunately, one of the girls in the previous cohort, she told me, listen, I'm sorry to hear about that, but listen, you're not the only one, but you can just work through it. She was just giving me some words of encouragement, because it really messed up my day, to be honest. It really messed up my day, but it takes time. You got to observe it, because for me, it's a lot of thoughts were going back to when I almost got kicked out, but that was due to an administrative issue. But I just don't want to, for my head, it's like I was getting these hypothetical worries about, what if I fail, and what if I get kicked out of this course and I don't qualify, and it was quite intense. But I learned, we need to, it depends on your morals. It depends how you are. I take things from a religious and a spiritual point of view, that there's always a wisdom in the divine decree. In the divine decree of God, there's always wisdom of everything, and that everything is just life. It's all about life. Life is trials and tribulations, and tests, and we believe usually in Islam that trials and tribulations are there to grow, allow you to improve, and that's life for you. Life's filled with tests, and the thing is, this is a great opportunity for me maybe to work even harder, perhaps, and just trying to change my mindset, which really, really does help. So it's a lot. You don't give up. Setbacks, I wrote this as a statement. This is probably me quoting myself, that setbacks set the path towards success. There's not a single human being who, a successful human being, except that they've had a number of setbacks in their lives, and they continue to have setbacks. Because setbacks, they pave the path towards success. It's not failure. Failure is when you give up. But success, you got to continue. You can choose to give up or not. I can choose to give up if I want to. There are people who do end up giving up, but I'm choosing not to give up. I keep telling myself, I did not come here for nothing. I came here for a reason. And that is something that I've learned, and which is one thing I'm trying to do, and that we are encouraged. Use the techniques and these different tools and techniques that we teach to our clients. We need to apply it to ourselves. Applying classifying and applying worry management to myself, applying behavioral activation to myself, applying, changing my style of thinking from negative, unhelpful to an actual alternative and a balanced thought. All of these things I need to apply it to myself. And it really helps, and it does work. Stay tuned to next week's video.